If you do political forecasting, you would want to study Cooper's spin. Cooper's spin is not merely a political dispute, it is a psychological event in the construction of the next general election. Election day is often the least important day in the formation of a vote because by the time the voter enters the polling station, much of the decision has already been made through the accumulated experiences of the voter. The insults, the scandals, the disappointment, crime, leadership style, all of that, the accumulated experiences. The Cooper's pen debate as a political signal, therefore, is not simply who is winning the Cooper's pen debate. It is what did voters learn about the parties from watching the Cooper's pen argument. And that is a very different question. Not who is winning the Cooper's pen debate, but what are the voters learning from watching the Cooper's pen argument? You know, political controversy becomes electorally significant when voters use it as a proxy for something larger. And so Cooper's pen can therefore become a shorthand question for many other questions. Who understands ordinary Jamaicans? Who is listening? Who is exploiting the issue? Who is being defensive? Who is competent? Who is arrogant? Who is solving problems rather than talking about the problems? Who can we trust? Who it is that seems desperate for power to win the next election? Who is it that is thinking beyond the next election? And this is where the PNP's politics become particularly interesting. I think they are making a fundamental mistake. You see, the PNP's problem may not be Cooper's pen itself. Because if the PNP approaches Cooper's pen primarily as an electoral opportunity, then the voters may perceive something beneath the words. And when you look at what the PNP is doing, you realize a certain desperation. There's a subtle distinction, you see, between we are fighting for the people of Cooper's pen and we understand why what happened in Cooper's pen matters to people like you. The first is politics. The second is empathy. And voters are extraordinarily sensitive to the difference because a party can say all the right things and still communicate the wrong psychological message. And that is one of the things nobody talks about enough in Jamaican politics. Voters don't only process political content, they also process political posture. The posture sometimes is more important than the content. People are watching how a party reacts because there is the psychology of the voter. Consider the voters in Mandeville, Montego Bay, Kingston, elsewhere in Jamaica. They may have absolutely no direct connection to Cooper's pen, yet they ask themselves subconsciously, could that have been me? Yeah? A localized controversy, therefore, becomes electorally important when it creates identification. And this is where the conversation can become even more interesting because politics is not processed purely intellectually. When people encounter stories involving danger, displacement, injustice, humiliation, insecurity, economic hardship, etc., the body reacts before the political argument is fully constructed. And therefore, there's a subtle message underneath the message. And this is perhaps the most important part of the argument because every political statement contains at least two messages. One, there is the explicit message. We are concerned about Cooper's Pen. But there is also the implicit message. Look at how we behave when we encounter a politically useful controversy. And voters may not articulate the second message, but they register it. And that's why tone matters, timing matters, who speaks matters. Whether politicians visit the community, it matters. Whether they listen matters. And this is where the PNP has to be very careful. Because if the PNP wants Cooper's Pen to translate into votes, which it does, the danger is over politicizing the issue, which they are doing. And there's a paradox in opposition politics, because you need to politicize an issue without making people feel that you are exploiting them. And that is incredibly difficult for the comrades because the party is pushing aggressively, but the government can potentially frame the PNP as being